Hey people, welcome back to another flow. My name is Nicol and I'm going to guide you through a flow that I'm hoping will bring a bit more wellness and well-being to yourself, and maybe relax you a little bit more. At the moment, we're currently going through lockdown. I'm not sure when you'll see this, but hopefully it will bring about a sense of ease in the situation that we're in. My quote for you this morning is that there is virtue in rest and there's virtue in work. Use both and overlook none. It's a quote by Alan Cohen, and it just reminds us that, there has to be a balance in life, and in that balance, it not only goes to the outside world, but also to your practice here at yoga, and in everything else that you do. So we're going to start off on our backs. I'll get you to bring your knees into the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a hug, and just kind of setting the intention of the practice. Maybe closing down the eyes. And just for one breath, just bringing your forehead up to your knees and really curling in as tight as possible. And then releasing the grip on your knees to grab your shins. And we're just going to draw little circles with the knees around and around. Now you can choose to go clockwise or anti-clockwise because we're going to change the direction fairly shortly. And it's just bringing a little bit of massage to your lower spine. Change direction. We'll go the other way. Meanwhile, keep breathing, bringing that air all the way down to the lower belly. Fill the chest. And come to stationary. Bring the soles of the feet down to the edges of the mat. So bring them nice and wide. And then bring the knees in together. We're going to start off by windshield wipering the knees, so turn them over to the left-hand side, and then slowly move them over to the right. And slowly back through center to the left, and slowly to the right. And just keep going in that nice, slow, gentle motion. And then maybe incorporating the breath by with your in-breath, bring your knees up, and with the out-breath, coming down to one side. And once you reach back to center, we're going to grab the backs of our thighs and just rock and roll on your spine. And maybe even swing the legs really widely over your head, just creating a little bit of momentum to eventually come to a seat. So we rock all the way forward. And then releasing and rocking back. So we're going to do that twice more, rocking all the way forward. Come onto your toes perhaps, and then releasing and rocking back. Rocking, create momentum, come to a seat, and then rocking back. And eventually rock down back to your back. So release the feet down to the floor. Bring them as close to the tailbone as possible, about hip-width apart, and then bring your hands with the palms facing down at your side. On your inhale, we're just going to curl the spine up, starting with the tailbone and then vertebrae by vertebrae so that you lift the hips coming into bridge. And then with the exhale, slowly vertebrae by vertebrae coming back down. And flowing as we breathe in, slowly lift up. And slowly releasing down back to the floor. Once more slowly up. And we're going to hold it on the up this time. And once you're up in your bridge, you can choose to stay where you are, or you can interlace the fingers and then slowly draw the shoulders in so that you've got a little bit more space to move the hips even higher. And once you're there, you can choose to stay, or even more options. You can choose to lift your right leg and point the toes to the ceiling. And proven we can do that. Slowly bring it down. Take your left foot, point it at the ceiling. Don't let the hips dip. And then slowly bring that left foot down to the floor, uninterlace the fingers, and then slowly let the hip back down. Bring the feet back to the edges of the mat, knees in, and then slowly again windshield wipering from left to right. And just make it a really nice slow motion. And again, integrating the breath, so every time you breathe in, bring the knees up, and out when you bring the knees down. And once you come back to center, we're going to pause there. And then grab the outside or the back of your thighs and roll back up to a seat. However, this time, we're going to flip all the way over and we're going to come into a plank. So once you're in your plank position, feel like you're really pushing away from the mat, so your shoulders are protracting, your fingers are spread, so you've got a nice, firm, stable grounding with the palms, and your palms are flat against the floor. So staying for another 3 breaths. If it's too much, bring the knees down, but otherwise try and stay, try and hold it. Make sure that you're not dipping the hips too low, so you want to keep that nice straight back. For 2, and for 1, and then we're slowly going to lower down to the forearms, coming into a forearm plank. You can choose to keep the hands flat on the floor, or you can choose to interlace the fingers and stay in your forearm plank. Staying for 3, staying for 2, maybe the legs are starting to shake, maybe the arms, maybe the back, staying for 1. And then we're going to move into a supported forearm plank, so moving back up to your full plank. Bring your right hand to the middle of the mat under your shoulders, and then drop that right shin down perpendicular to the mat, and then lift your left hand all the way up to the ceiling. See if you can push the hips a little bit forward, staying for 2, staying for 1, and then bring that left hand down. We're moving on to the other side, so kick that right foot back, and then take the left hand into the center of the mat, left shin down, and then take that right hand up to the ceiling. Excuse my back, and bring the hips a little bit more forward. Staying for 3, staying for 2, for 1, and slowly bring that right hand down. Kick that left foot back, coming back to your plank, and then lower down to your forearm plank. Option to stay here with the hands interlaced, or maybe bring your right forearm into a kickstand, so bring it to the left elbow, and then turning yourself around and coming into a forearm plank on your forearm. Staying for 1, staying for 2, don't let the hips come down to the mat. Staying for 3, and slowly bring that left hand down, left forearm, turning yourself around and taking it to the other side. Staying for 3, staying for 2, staying for 1. Well done if you made it. Bringing both forearms down, both knees, and then we're going to take the knees wide to the edges of the mat as you draw the tops of the feet down, hips back to heels, coming into your first child's pose. So in your child's pose, you can keep it restorative by bringing the elbows down and just rest, or maybe you can keep the elbows off the floor and you can stretch the hands forward, bringing more stretch to the shoulders. So just staying here for another 3 breaths. And slowly moving out of your balasana or child's pose to a tabletop, and we're going to form our first downward dog. So bring your hands to the top of the mat, keep the fingers nice and spread, index fingers are kind of parallel, tuck the toes and then lift the hips, moving into your downward dog. So everybody's got their little routine here. You can bend alternate knees, making sure we're stretching into the feet and the Achilles, maybe the calves. You can maybe take the hips from side to side. So whatever feels comfortable for you. Eventually moving to a stationary downward dog where we find some stillness. And here you want to try and draw your shoulders down as you bring your chest in towards your thighs. And this might mean you have to keep your knees bent. That's fine. Now we're going to walk the hands all the way back towards the feet. So towards the back of the mat.
Keep the feet spread about hip-width apart, and then bring your hands to your shins as you take a deep breath in.
Maybe tabletop the spine so you create a nice little 7 shape, or might be just a 90-degree shape. 7 is what we're going for. And exhale,
Bring the hands back down to the floor and chest to thighs. Once again, inhale, hands to shins.
and exhale, release.
Once more, inhale, hands to shins.
And exhale, release. Now we're going to reach all the way for the ceiling with your hands. Inhale, fill the lungs, bring the palms together to touch, and then exhale to the heart center. Inhale, draw the arms all the way up. And forward fold as you exhale, so bring the chest back to the thighs. We're going to walk the hands all the way back to the front to be in your downward dog shape, so that upside down V. And then walk the feet all the way to the front of the mat. Once you hit the front, toe heel the feet out to about hip width, and then inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release.
Do that again. Inhale, halfway lift with your hands to your shins. And exhale, release. Once more, hands to shins, inhale.
And exhale, release.
Reaching for the ceiling again, all the way up.
Bring the palms together to touch. Exhale to your heart center. Wind the arms up to the ceiling. Forward fold, exhale.
Hands meet the floor, and then you step or walk the feet all the way back to your downward dog. We're going to go into a plank position, so just kind of undulate the back so you move into a high plank, so your push-up position, and then drop the knees down and lower the body all the way down.
Keep your hands where they are. Bring the tops of the feet onto the mat. And then as you breathe in, just peel the chest up. Baby cobra. And exhale, release. Try that once more. Inhale, peel the chest up. And exhale, release. Tuck the toes. Inhale to your knees. And then as you exhale, lift the hips. Downward dog. Slowly walk the hands all the way to the back of the mat. Taking a little bigger steps this time. Toe heel the feet out. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release.
All the way to the ceiling, inhale.
Palms meet and exhale to heart center. Inhale all the way up. Forward fold, exhale.
Hands to shins, inhale.
And exhale, place the hands down and start walking back to the front of the mat. Remember, you're taking bigger strides with the hands. And then stepping that right foot all the way forward, followed by the left. Take an inhale once you reach the top. And exhale, release. All the way to the ceiling, inhale. Hands meet down to heart as you exhale. Inhale to the ceiling. Forward fold, exhale.
Halfway lift, inhale.
And as you exhale, place the hands down and step back to your plank. Inhale as you bring the shoulders a little bit forward, and exhale slowly down all the way. Tops of the feet on the mat, baby cobra as you breathe in, so peel the chest up. And exhale, release. One more time, inhale, peel. And exhale, release. Tuck the toes, inhale to the knees. And keep going up as you exhale, lift the knees, downward dog. Bring the knees down to the floor, and we're just going to go through some wrist prep. So to bring a bit of mobility to the wrists. So slowly moving the wrists around in circles once you're in your tabletop. Again, it doesn't matter which way you start, but you want to try and keep the palms planted and arms straight. And changing direction, going the other way. And coming back to center and turning the wrists so the fingers are pointing back towards the knees, and then bring the hips slowly back towards the heels. And once you reach your max, just pause there, take a deep breath in, and a long exhale out. And then flip the palms around, and you're going to bring the shoulders forward now this time. So the hips away from the heels. Once you reach your max, pause. Deep inhale in.
And long exhale out. And slowly releasing, tuck the toes. And we're going to just sit on the heels for a moment and just shake out the wrists. Interlace the fingers and then just create little circles around. And move the other way. And just shake them out once more. And we're going to go back to our downward dog. So place the hands towards the top of the mat, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog. Staying here for 2 more breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and open the mouth, exhale out. I'm going to walk the feet all the way up to the top of the mat. So just take nice little steps. Inhale once you reach the top, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Hands all the way to the ceiling as you inhale. Allow the palms to meet and exhale to heart center. Sweep the hands all the way back up to the ceiling and then toe heel the feet in and exhale through the knees as you bend to Utkatasana. So Utkatasana is our awkward pose and we try and keep the spine straight here, and that's what makes it so awkward, by tucking the tailbone in and maybe pulling the chest back in as well. So you're tucking the lower belly. If you need to alleviate the shoulders, if they're really tight, bend through the elbows so you come into cactus, and that might make the position or pose a little bit more accessible. Otherwise, just keeping the arms straight and trying to really push through those shoulders. Just staying here for another 2. For another 1. And then bring the hands in prayer and bring your left elbow to your right knee. Just find a twist here. Remember to keep the hips nice and low. And look at your knees and just make sure they're not racing forward so one's in front of the other. You want to keep them in line. And bring your hands into prayer to the center. And then taking a left twist. Bring the right elbow in the left knee. Now we'll kind of come into a flow. As you come back to center, inhale, stretch all the way to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to heart, bring them down as you bend through the knees. Inhale as you open to the right-hand side, elbow onto knee. Exhale as you come back to center and maybe lower the hips a little bit more. Inhale as you bring the right elbow onto the left knee. And exhale back to center. Lower the hips a bit more. Inhale as you stretch and reach all the way to the ceiling. Exhale, palms to center as you bend back through the knees. Inhale to the left-hand side. Exhale back to center. Lower hips. Inhale to the left. And exhale back to center. Lower the hips even more. Inhale, straighten all the way up. And exhale, forward fold as you bring the chest back to the thighs. You might want to pedal the knees. So just bending alternate knees just to release any tension. And staying for another 2. Another 1. Nice. Hands to shins. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Reach for the ceiling. Inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to twist and bend to the left-hand side, opening out the arms and maybe looking behind us. Inhale, back to center. Reach the arms up to the ceiling. And exhale, twist to the right, bending through the knees and maybe looking behind. Inhale all the way up and to the left. Inhale up and to the right. Inhale once more to the ceiling and forward fold as you exhale. Inhale halfway and exhale, forward fold. Step the right foot to the back. So we're into a lunge position. And then as you inhale, take the arms up into crescent lunge. Making sure that front knee is over the left ankle. Staying for 2. Staying for 1. And bring your hands in prayer to your heart center. Take your right elbow, place it on the left knee. Coming back into a twist. And on your inhale, take both hands up, crescent. And place both hands down to the mat as you exhale. Step up to the top of the mat, inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. Take a step back with the left foot back into that lunge position. Inhale, crescent as you bring both hands up. And release and exhale as you relax. And bring your hands back to prayer and take that left elbow to the right knee as you come into your twist. Stay for 1. Stay for 2. And 1 more breath. Inhale, both hands up to the ceiling. Frame the front foot on the exhale. Step up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. I'm going to toe heel the feet out to about hip width apart. And then place your right hand all the way underneath so that you're stepping or standing on your palm. And take the left hand underneath the left so you're standing on the left palm. See if you can feed that hand all the way in. And then maybe moving the toes around so you're massaging the palms. It's really nice if you are at a table all day, especially in these times working from home and being stuck at a table at your keyboard in front of a computer. This just brings a little bit more stretch to your wrists and massages the hands. Staying just for 2 more breaths here. See if you can elongate those legs just in 1 more breath. And release, pull the hands out. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Step back with your left foot followed by your right to your plank. Inhale. Your shoulders come a little bit more forward. Exhale, this time maybe with the knees off the floor. Halfway, chaturanga. Flip the feet. Inhale to your upward dog. And exhale, downward dog. Come back to knees down onto the floor to your tabletop position. And we're going to move through a few cat-cows. So breathing in as you bring your gaze up to the ceiling, untuck your tailbone, your belly lowers. As you exhale, feel like you're pushing away from the mat, tucking everything in, chin, belly, and tailbone. Inhale, gaze comes up. And exhale, tuck everything in. 1 more time, bring the head through the shoulders as you open. And exhale, tuck everything in. And then bring the knees wide to the edges of the mat. Keep the tops of the feet down as you bring yourself down to child's pose. We're going to keep it a little bit more active this time by bringing the palms off the floor, coming onto your fingertips, and really stretching into them. See if you can draw the hips even lower down towards the heels. And just pausing, catching our breath. Now we're going to walk the fingers over to the right-hand side. And you might find you feel a stretch in the left side of the body as your belly pushes against that right thigh. Take a deep breath in here. And a long exhale. Move your fingers back to center, and through center move over to the left-hand side. And again, pushing onto that left thigh. Take an inhale. And a long exhale. Move the hands back to center. And we're going to bring ourselves back to our tabletop. So bring the knees into hip width apart. Feet hip width apart. And then just walk the hands forward, coming into your puppy pose. So in our puppy pose here, really strong back bend. And we're trying to bring our hips over the knees. And our shoulders are getting a real good stretch. And maybe our forehead's down, or maybe you've got the space in your neck to bring your chin down to the floor. Wherever you are today, wherever your practice is, listen to your body. We're just staying here for 5. Staying for 4. Staying for 3. Staying for 2. Staying for 1. Now you're in such close quarters you've met. Time to leave. Slowly walking the hands back to your tabletop position. And then tucking the toes and lifting the hips, downward dog. I'm going to take an inhale and take the right foot up to the ceiling. And then bend through that knee and open the hip, coming into fire hydrant. So here you want to draw that right heel to the left glute. You want to lift that right knee as high as possible while maintaining a nice, stable, strong line with the shoulders. Take an inhale and straighten the foot as you square the hips, and exhale as you draw that right foot in towards the top of the mat. Take an inhale as you step up to halfway lift, and an exhale as you release. Keep the feet about hip-width apart, and then grab opposite elbows, and then just find your ragdoll as you sway gently from left to right. Feels really nice on the spine. And then releasing the elbows, toe heeling the feet out to the edges of the mat. Keep them at about 45. You'll know where we're going now. Slowly lower down the hips, coming to find your yogic squat. Bring your hands in prayer and draw them in as you push the knees in to the elbows. So if you find this position really hard to maintain, you can roll up your mat so that you've got a little bit of height underneath your heels. Otherwise, staying here, opening the shoulders. And we don't want to dump into our flexibility and sit as low as we can. However, we want to raise ourselves a little bit higher so that we're doing a little bit of work. Nice. Placing the hands down, slowly lift the hips back up and then toe heel the feet in. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, invitation to hop back to low plank. So you place your hands down and then you bring the weight forward. Hop back to low plank. You want to land low. Inhale as you flip the feet, upward dog. And exhale, downward dog. Take the left foot up to the sky as you inhale. Exhale as you bend through that knee, fire hydrant. So really open up the hips. Staying for 2. Staying for 1. Inhale and straighten the leg. Square the hips and exhale, draw the foot through. Place it between the hands. Inhale as you step up to halfway lift. And exhale, release. Again, keep the feet about hip width apart. Ragdoll as you draw your hands to your elbows. Again, sway from left to right. I'm just going to move back so I've got a bit more space. We're going to release the elbows and toe heel the feet out to the edges of the mat, 45 degrees, and come back and find your yogic squat or malasana. Option here to stay in your malasana, or maybe you want a little bit more and you want to go into crow and play. So if you're coming with me, place your hands down, and please only try this at home if you've done this before. We don't want to hurt ourselves with no one there to help us. It may help to put a block where your forehead is going to go, so just off the mat. Otherwise, bring your knees into your triceps, and then lifting one foot or maybe the other, and playing with your balance as your arms are in that chaturanga position. So just stay here for 3. Staying for 2, staying for 1, an option to place the feet down, or maybe you want to hop back, again to low plank, inhale, upward dog, and exhale, downward dog. I'm going to slowly bring the knees back down to the floor, and then turn yourself around so that you are onto your back. Once on our backs, bring the feet to the edges of the mat. The legs are bent 90 degrees. And taking the arms out to the side, bring the knees in together. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees from left to right again. Using the breath. So making it a slow, intentional movement. If Ujjayi breath is within your practice, bring that into play as well. And once you come back to center, pause there. Bring your left sole of the foot into the middle where it usually is, and then take your right ankle, place it onto the left knee. Engage that right foot so the foot is pointing back towards the ceiling or back to the knee. And then use your right hand and place it on your right thigh and slowly encourage the hips open,
by pushing back and up. So you're pushing at an angle. And you might want to stay here if that's enough. So we're moving into reclined pigeon. If this is not doing anything for you or serving a purpose, then thread your arms through so you grab the back of your left thigh, engage those toes as well, and then draw that thigh in as you push the right thigh open with the right hand. And slowly release the sole of the foot down. Keeping the right ankle into the left knee, we're going to just draw the knees over to the right-hand side. And then take the arms wide and keep that left shoulder connected to the floor. If you got space in your neck, you can turn your head over to the left-hand side, so the opposite side of the knees, and just be mindful of the hip joints. If this is too much on the hips, just release the right ankle off the left knee. Otherwise, keep it there and get into a little bit of a deeper twist. And slowly releasing both knees back into center. Swap the legs around so you're bringing your left ankle onto the right knee. And again, using your left hand to gently push and encourage the knee open or the hip open. And then we're remembering to engage that left toe. And if it's not enough or you want more, just threading your arms through so you grab the back of the right thigh. You draw that thigh in, keeping the right toes engaged, and you use your left hand to keep drawing that left thigh open. And slowly releasing the right thigh to the floor, releasing the knees to the left-hand side. So just draw them down gently. And taking the arms nice and wide, keeping that right shoulder on the floor. If you have the neck space, turning your head over to that right hand and breathing. It's nice to go internal in these poses when you're in the yin component of the practice. It just heightens the other senses a little bit more. So as you know, with a blind person, not having sight, they can possibly hear better or smell better or maybe feel better. So just keeping in mind that if you close your eyes or you have a soft, unfocused gaze, as we try and encourage, it would mean that you can possibly feel more in the posture. And slowly disengaging the knees up, taking the left ankle off the knee, and then bringing both knees into the chest as you give yourself a hug. And we're going to come into happy baby as you release the knees and you grab the outside blades of the feet. So as your arms are drawing on the inside of the knees, you're trying to draw your tailbone as low as possible so your spine is flat against the mat. And note that if you can't reach your feet, you can always grab your shins, as long as you're keeping that intention, bring your knees to each side of your chest. And just breathing here down all the way to the belly. And eventually releasing the feet. Bring the soles of the feet together, keep the knees open, and then draw your feet down to the mat. As you then draw the heels all the way in, as tight as possible to the tailbone. I invite you to bring your right hand onto your lower belly, and your left hand onto your heart center. So you're feeling your heartbeat with your left hand, and you're feeling the rise and fall with the breath in your right hand. And see if you can notice the right hand moving as the breath moves all the way down there. And with that intention, moving the breath down, bring focus to your practice. If you've let go of your ujjayi breath, bring that back in. Now we're coming to the close of the practice, so you can choose to stay in your Supta Baddha Konasana, the pose we're in, for the Shavasana or the last few minutes, or you can choose to straighten the legs into a more traditional Shavasana. You have a bit of space between the feet, and then bring the arms at your side with the palms facing up. Make sure you're nice and comfortable in the mat, feel it really supporting you. And then again with the eyes closed, drawing yourself back to focus on the breath as it's moving in and out. Now you had your hands on your belly before, so feeling possibly that depression or that coldness now with your hands gone. It just allows us to focus on those sensations. The breath slowly coming in and the breath slowly going out. Now I'm going to leave you here without speaking for about a minute or so. So I haven't gone anywhere. I will still need to close the practice. So just feel free to let go and be super calm and relaxed. Now you're at home, so you can choose to pause the video and continue on with your Shavasana if you feel it serves you. Otherwise, if you're finishing off with me, just bring some movement back into the toes, the fingers, and take a few deeper breaths. And then bring some movement back to your neck. So move it from side to side, just really slowly. And allow an inhale to draw your arms up over your head, maybe to touch the floor. And an exhale to draw the knees into the chest, curling up into a ball. Allow the knees to draw down to one side, left or right, whatever your preference is. And just pause in that fetal position for breath. And using your top hand, you're just going to draw yourself up into a seat, keeping your eyes closed to face the front. I invite you to bring your hands in prayer to your heart center. With our hearts, we feel words of love and gratitude. Bring your hands to your lips. With our mouths, we speak words of love and gratitude. Bring your hands up to your forehead, or what we perceive as the third eye, and bow your head just ever so slightly. With our minds, we think words of love and gratitude. The light in me sees, it honors, and it respects the very same light it sees in you. Namaste. Before we close the practice, keep your eyes closed, or shut them if you open them. I'm going to take a really deep breath in through the nose, and open the mouth and exhale. Slowly blinking open the eyes. Thank you very much for practicing with me and sharing your time and energy. I feel it coming through the screen. Have yourself a beautiful day if it is, or a night if it's later. I wish you all the best and stay safe. Ciao.